Amandla, mandla, mandla una, amandla una, oh amandla una, oh amandla, amandla, oh amandla, ukuta amandla, amandla. No, I knew if I don't sing, it will be so you just have to make it pass. Thank you very much, Program Director, the Deputy Chairperson of the Province, Comrade Magume. Let me once again acknowledge the provincial leadership, Comrade Mkolisi Dukwana. His new name is Comrade Mkolisi. And then, of course, Comrade Toto, Comrade Ketso, acknowledge the Provincial Secretary, Comrade Puledi Somtsweni, the Deputy Provincial Secretary, Comrade Dibulelo Mahlatsi, Comrade Nokwanje Mataboleto as the Provincial Treasurer, and also the whole collective of the PEC. And then let me acknowledge in our midst the leadership of the Alliance in the province, the South African Communist Party, the leadership of COSATU, the leadership, I don't know if Sanko is here, but yeah, leadership of Sanko. One of them that is here. Any one of them who's here, let me acknowledge them, and let me acknowledge the leadership of the ANC Women's League at all levels. Malbongwe, I can see the national leadership of the Women's League is here, the provincial leadership of the ANC Women's League is here. Let me acknowledge the leadership of the ANC Youth League, the future of our country, the future of our movement, the provincial leadership, even the regional leadership that is here. Of course, do me no harm for forgetting the regional leadership of the ANC here. And I think the Progressive Youth Alliance is here. And if they are here, you are acknowledged. Let me acknowledge the Premier of the province, Comrade Sisintombela. Let me also acknowledge the executive that is here, the members of parliament, the members of the provincial legislature, the mayors, the speakers, all deployees of the ANC, to avoid committing any mistake. Let me say protocol observed. Of course, I've seen, I'm not yet used to the Liberation War veterans. Let me acknowledge them. The committee that represents the detainees that is here. Protocol observed, comrades. If I happen to have messed up the protocol, my apologies, profuse apologies in advance. Comrades, the focus is on the Lekgotla, but what precedes our Lekgotla is the January 8th statement. In that January 8th statement, a clarion call is made that we should have a good sense or internalize our priorities for this year. And flowing from those priorities, there are specific tasks that are being presented. So just to enlist them, the priorities for this year, in whatever we do, we need to keep those priorities in mind. And the theme, the overriding theme for these priorities, or for the year, is that of decisive action in advancing people's interests and the renewal of the ANC. So no decisive action is going to be taken just in vain. It's purposeful. It is in advancing the interests of our people. You are decisive in advancing the interests of our people and the renewal of the ANC. So that is the clarion call for this year. And based on that clarion call for decisive action in advancing the people's interests and renewal of the ANC, there are priorities. There are priorities. To enlist them, one is that we need to have specific initiatives and programs to deepen the renewal of the ANC. I think at a later stage, I would like to close here just to focus a little bit on renewal of the ANC. And then to accelerate the resolution of the energy crisis to end load shedding. To boldly mobilize social partners around economic reconstruction and recovery in order to increase job creation, investment, and empowerment. Improve delivery of basic services and maintaining infrastructure. Strengthen the fight against crime and corruption. Action to build a better Africa. Those are the priorities. In other words, in whatever we do, we must accelerate renewal of the ANC. In whatever we do, we must focus on renewal of the ANC. In whatever we do, we must build strong social partnerships. In whatever we do, we must build a better Africa. So these are some of the priorities that are there. And then there are specific tasks to the ANC, which I believe the Lekgotla itself should not shy away to dealing with them, because this is an ANC Lekgotla. So in the context of elucidating these priorities, we need to really focus ourselves to the tasks of the ANC. Now let me go through them. This is what January 8th statement, the statement of the NEC said. We must implement the roadmap towards Vision 2032. This relates to the renewal of the ANC, which I indicated that I may have, time allows, I'll have to just focus on it. And then the other task of the ANC is to build branches as centers for community development. It's important that the branch of the ANC should be centers of community development. We must build them. Is to build a new cadre and raise the quality of membership. Now, those who understand what a cadre means vis-a-vis a member, vis-a-vis a supporter of the ANC would understand that a cadre is something quite serious. Khalma Matlante, when he sums up what is a cadre, he said a cadre is like a frame. And when it is a frame, it means you put it in water, you put it against all kinds of challenges, weather conditions, the frame does not lose shape. So he says, if you are a cadre of this movement, you are a person who is not easily swayed under all circumstances. So that's how he sums up what constitutes a cadre. In my view, that explains that a cadre is a solid member of the ANC who is advanced in terms of his theory, ideology, and even practice, in terms of serving his people. So we need to build a new cadre to raise the quality of membership. Clearly, there is an acknowledgement that we do have members, but the quality is suspect. And there are many things that indicate that the quality, our membership quality is suspect. There are many things that shows that our quality as members of the ANC is suspect. So part of this roadmap of Vision 2032, it's about raising a new cadre. Rebuild the leagues. We need to rebuild the leagues. The ANC Women's League, the ANC Youth League, the ANC Veterans League, we need to rebuild those leagues because they are quite important to our movement. The other task of the ANC is to strengthen the alliance. Our alliance, COSATU and the South African Communist Party, has got to be strengthened. And one of the underlying aspects of strengthening the alliance is to make sure that we respond properly to the quest, to the plea, to the demand for the alliance configuration. Because that is what is at play. Because the alliance today, COSATU, South African Communist Party, and the ANC, that alliance is under different circumstances. And as Comrade Toto has been saying, that change is constant. You either embrace it or you adapt to it. So this configuration of the alliance, the time to theorize it, I think there has been many debates and theorization on what shape and so on it should take. But it is time now to really get into the execution phase of it, so that as we configure our relationship, it is a relationship that responds to conditions of today. So strengthening the alliance is quite critical. And we must not patronize the alliance partners in this regard. We must also strengthen the ANC governance capacity. Comrades, we all know what we are dealing with. Governance capacity of the ANC has got to be strengthened. The writing is on the wall. We got a hiding during the local government elections, and we cannot swim under the pool of what Roberto Mangabeira Anga calls routine without reason, and think everything is honky-dory. We need to strengthen our capacity. All of us here are deployees of the ANC. This speaks to us as leaders of the ANC, as administrators, as politicians in government. We need to strengthen our capacity to govern. Our capacity to govern is suspect. If you want to see the sewage in our townships, it demonstrates that the capacity in our municipalities is suspect. All kinds of poor service delivery are a real indication that our capacity to govern is suspect. Small shield. All we can generate is nice strategic plans and so on, but kodwa small shield emaqabane. So we need to deal with that. Effective communication and social mobilization. We are poor communicators. We are poor communicators. From the basic, as human beings, we communicate poorly amongst each other, amongst one another, amongst ourselves. That's why Comrade Toto had to make a clarion call for respect, because that's the starting point. And let alone at a public discourse where our hegemony has got to be sustained, has got to find true expression. We are very weak there. In the public discourse, we lose each and every day. And then, of course, we do cry foul that we have a media that is not friendly. That is a fact. But again, we also don't have a strong communication machinery. Secondly, social penetration. The Communist Party of China has got what is called social penetration. How do we know our structures in communities where we live? How do we connect with them? We've lost that. We've lost that. We don't have it at all. I always make an example that during the local government elections in one province where the president was going from one ward to the other. 20 minutes before the president arrived at the place where he was supposed to address people there, he was going to address them at the soccer field. At that soccer field, the ANC branch, the ANC region had directed that president will meet people there. But on our earlier arrival as the advanced team, then there was a soccer tournament. And we had to beg the organizers of the soccer tournament that, president is coming and so on. When we asked the BEC, they were not aware that there's a soccer tournament taking place, let alone the region. And the soccer tournament was well attended. But the BEC says, go and let the president address there, but the BEC does not know that there's a soccer tournament. So obviously, it tells you that the structures did not know what is happening in their own community. They did not know actually what is it that young people are organized. So we had to beg them. When president was addressing those thousands, and then others thought, no, hey, there's good mobilization. No, we were actually at the receiving end of a BEC that did not know what is taking place in its area. So we need to have a strong social mobilization and social partnership. We must also, one of the tasks to advance the African agenda and international work, the solidarity work. The ANC has always been reputed to understand the continent and broader international work on solidarity. And today, we're faced with many challenges, but it is our task as the ANC not to lose focus on the work of solidarity, especially in the continent, despite all challenges that we have. And the last task is to ensure financial sustainability and modernize ANC operations. The African National Congress today, as an organization, functions under conditions where many of its members are far more wealthier or richer than the organization. That is why they are able to buy it. That is why they are able to buy it. Now, you need an organization, if you take yourself seriously, you need an organization that is financially sustainable. Then people will take you serious. How will people take you serious with the purse of the country when you can't manage the purse of your small organization? Nobody will actually take you serious. So these are the priorities and the tasks. And then at the Lekgotla corroborated those priorities and the task of the organization. And I'll just enlist them. The Lekgotla then resolved that we need to accelerate actions to resolve the energy crisis, to end load shedding. You can see from January 8th statement, there is consistency with the resolutions of the whole. So there is focus with the resolutions of Lekgotla corroborates, speaks to the priorities and the tasks of the ANC. And comrades, part of what we are saying here is that you may have heard various debates about the wars and so on. That has been clarified. We are faced with technical, because various ministries here are giving emphasis to different things, but our policy of energy mix remains intact. Now, with regards to load shedding and energy crisis, we are faced with both technical issues and other issues, they speak to the fact that there is sabotage, there is corruption that has taken place in or at ESCOM, rather. So now, with load shedding, you've got to make sure that all these dimensions that are at play, that creates this crisis of load shedding, you attack them. That is why the Minister of Minerals and Energy, Comrade National Chair, puts focus on the technical aspect that you need to capacitate the current power stations that are there. Because the danger is that you have what they call, is it energy availability factor, 26,000 megawatts that ESCOM is actually availing. And when you need, on top of that, around 46,000 megawatts. So ESCOM is not functioning at a 70% energy availability factor. It's supposed to operate to function at that level. But now you can imagine that to operate at that, you need 46,000 megawatts. So obviously, it is not functioning optimally. That is why in the presentation of Comrade National Chair, it's clear that you need to optimize functionality of other power stations. And therefore, in the context of optimizing functionality of other power stations, you also have to bring into being the renewables. But this does not mean bringing in renewables, you've got to surrender your base load, which is coal. So these are the things that are at play. So in the context of understanding the debate has got various areas of emphasis. But in the context of understanding these various areas of emphasis, we've got to make sure that we resolve both the leadership, managerial issues, and the technical issues that are quite at play. Now, Lekgotla has resolved quite extensively on this matter, and I think if you go through the statement of the ANC, you'll be able to see how far it has gone on these specific matters. And the other issue that Lekgotla's resolved is specific initiatives and programs to intensify ANC's renewal. The third issue is a bold program to mobilize social partners around economic reconstruction and recovery to increase job creation, investment, and empowerment. You can see from time to time, we sort of go through this thing once over and over again, because these are our priorities, these are the tasks that we're supposed to do, and Lekgotla emphasized or corroborated them. The fourth resolution deals with the steps to improve the delivery of basic services and maintain infrastructure. Steps to improve, not theories. How are you going to deal with delivery of basic services and maintain infrastructure? The fifth issue is initiatives to strengthen the fight against crime and corruption. The issue of security and safety of our people, the issue of ensuring that we improve governing capacity is very much important, because what has been undergirding our governance to date is the whole common feature of corruption. So that has to be dealt with. There are sparks of successes, but we need to intensify the fight against crime and corruption. And I hear many people say, no, especially in the previous NEC, that no, it is focusing on crime and corruption. That is untrue. If you listen to what we've been saying all along, it is only now at the fifth resolution that we deal with the issue of crime and corruption. So those who want to distort, who are hell-bent on distorting the focus of the NEC, they use this as, no, instead of dealing with economic transformation, they use this as an excuse. So they want to really veer us away from what we are about. Then the other issue, which I believe is the last but one, is the specific actions to build a better Africa and the world. So, comrades, you can see that I've tried to focus on the January 8th statement, the priorities, and the task of the ANC and the resolutions of the Lekgotla. And having focused on that, it is very clear that the common thread for us to achieve this, we've got to be unflinching in ensuring that the ANC gets renewed. We've got to be unflinching, unapologetic in ensuring that renewal of the ANC is not postponed. All these tasks can never be performed or executed without a renewed African National Congress. Now, in order to underscore renewal of the ANC, we've got to go back to the basics. And what is that basic? Is the founding principle of the ANC. And that founding principle of the ANC is unity. A basic explanation or definition of a principle is that a principle is a fundamental truth of an organization. In other words, if there's anything that we need to be uncompromising about, it is the unity of the ANC. The African National Congress unity is critical. If we continue to be obsessed with factions, if we continue to be obsessed with divisions, we are therefore far from achieving these tasks for this year. We are far from taking decisive action in the interest of the people if we don't understand and internalize and practice unity of the organization. Now, what is this unity? Harun Aziz says unity is the state of political readiness to advance, to transform lives of the people. State of political readiness. It's not about us having to be nice to one another. We have been nice to one another without principle, and what has happened is that the ANC has been at the receiving end. So when we talk about unity, we talk about a state of political readiness to qualitatively transform lives of people. That is important. And anybody who is in a state of political readiness must understand this principle of unity and internalize it. Nelson Mandela, when he sends a paper, when he leaks a letter to a Kwabe conference, he says unity, is the founding, the solid rock upon which the ANC was founded. So it is the foundation. So if we are divided, there's no foundation. Re ka bua dipolitiki tsa lefatshe kaofela, re ka bua economics ya lefatshe kaofela. But if what underscores all that we are saying is divisions and factions, therefore the ANC is not there. There's no foundation. So motheo wa renewal is unity. Because unity is the fundamental truth of the African National Congress. So, comrades, Amilcar Cabral explains it. I like making this example, explains it quite easily. That unity is also a state of preparation. He makes that example. It's a state of preparation. You are like a person who's going to take a bath. And how lo hlapa lo nka bata ya hao mantsibuya when you live here, the first thing you prepare, you open the bathtub. And when you are ready, haiba onale again, foam bath, you prepare there. You put the sipa tsa hao, your soap, everything, foam bath. And then, what is most important is that you undress. O hlobola diphahlo tsa hao tse fail. Then you get into the bath. You never get into a bath to cleanse yourself with your dirty clothes. So one of the things that we have to do as Free Staters is to offload the baggage of factionalism and divisions. In that way, we'll be honoring Amilcar Cabral because he sees unity as a state of preparation. and he sees a dialectical relationship between the end and the means when he talks about unity. So I'm making this point of unity because it is a founding principle of the African National Congress. It is the principle that we must live by. It's a principle that we must internalize in whatever we do. Comrades, we may differ. We're going to have differences anyway. I am a twin. I'm a twin. Now, my twin brother doesn't look like me. We're fraternal twins. We love different things. When we played soccer together, he was a striker, I was a defender. Even in politics, where he introduced me, we'd never belonged to the same school of thinking. So imagine if you are not twins. You are likely to have different, diverse ideas. Now, and that is what the ANC is about. That discussions from different points will always prevail. But political maturity should nudge us to embrace them and constellate or crystallize them into a decision. We can't have differences forever. We can't have a situation where what drives us, what puts us into this political environment is divisions. Then we are putting an insult on the graves of our forebears. Bo Pixlika Isakaseme, Bo Mapikel, and so on. So renewal is premised on that foundation. The ANC resolution in 2017 characterizes renewal as, it says renewal is about resilience, enhancing resilience of the organization, enhancing the capacity of governing the ANC and adapting to new conditions. Now, resilience is toughness. That's what resilience means. So, in the context of renewal, the ANC says, to renew ourselves, we must enhance the toughness of the African National Congress because the ANC has always succeeded to swim against the tide. So we need to enhance the toughness of the ANC. Another basic dictionary meaning says resilience is the ability to spring back into shape. So if we are to enhance the resilience of the ANC, we must develop the ability to spring back into shape, like a sponge. How that sponge springs back into shape. We're shapeless now. We can't be shapeless forever. We are disorganized now. We can't be disorganized forever. We need to develop the agility to spring back. It does not say to go back into shape. Resilience is about the ability to spring back into shape. So we need to spring back into shape. So at this Lekgotla, we need to develop that capacity and ability of the ANC to spring back into shape. We can't be prisoners of the past. So it's important, therefore, to take that characterization of the ANC about renewal quite seriously. We need to internalize it. And how do we do it? We do it by ensuring that we internalize the founding moments of the ANC, the foundation of the ANC, which is unity. There are other principles of the ANC that have to be taken into consideration in whatever we do. On that note, comrades, I think at this Lekgotla, we'll use this moment to move forward, especially as Free State. And comrades, we must deeply understand what has happened to us as the Free Staters. We must understand that there are things that we have done that are wrong. And we must take ownership. This notion that, no, they are holier than thou, I don't subscribe to it. The kind of organization that we have seen for so many years, it is because some of us have planted that toxic seed in this organization. And therefore, we have an opportunity. This is a second chance to many of us to really detoxify the African National Congress in the province. It is a second opportunity. It's a rare opportunity for many. We can no longer become a province that destroys lives of cadres. We can't be. We have destroyed livelihoods of comrades of the ANC because of decisions we have taken, because of factions that we have been obsessed with. We can't become that kind of an ANC. So this leadership, it's a leadership in transition, and transition is very difficult. I think we are standing at the border of the past and the future. We must decide whether we want to have the hangover of the past. What normally people, when they want to sanitize, they say that the good olden days. What is good about the olden days? We must never sanitize our history. We must confront it so that we move into the future. And nobody has monopoly of the future. One thing that is common amongst us here, comrades, is that we don't have knowledge of the future. We have never been there, all of us. But also what is common, we have been in the past together, and we know the past, what it has done to us. So it is important, like Comrade Toto says, that nobody has monopoly. We've got to work together to shape the future. So as Free State, we must take this thing quite seriously. We must take it seriously because unity is critical. Many of us carry scars here, comrades. And some scars are deep. And one Cuban writer says, scars have memories. But skadula ngwapa that leqeba leo, le tla ba bohloko. Le tla tshwarwa ke stress. So the ability to spring back into shape, it is its moment now. So that we shape our province, it becomes formidable. And not everything in the past was bad. We must disabuse ourselves from that. There are things that we can learn that are good, and those things have got to be preserved, enhanced, improved. So the shaping the future requires each and every one of us. And comrades, we're at the moment now. We must never make a Free State or this hall here, Ilanga, Armageddon, where they say it is where the forces of evil and bad have met, the forces of good and evil have met, and all that they could live is the geography of blood. No, we must cross the Rubicon. There's no point of, this is a point of no return, but it must be a moment that we can cherish, like the Rubicon, that when we cross that moment, we never looked back. We never looked back, we moved forward. And mistakes are going to happen, differences are going to be there. The clarion call is for us to really work hard, to be more matured, to resolve issues that are at hand. Let's make the Free State, a center of excellence. Let's make the Free State what the provincial chair spoke about, a center where there is vision, where there is excellence. And we've been challenged not to think in a linear way, to be non-linear. All of us have been challenged into that. Let us make the Free State to be known for what it is. If you look at the role of Mapikela and many other stalwarts of our movement in the Free State here, you'll realize that there were pockets of excellence and they were taken seriously.
Central TV.